Welcome there, Mandy. Now, this is a Blessed Tribe only chat. I was able to log into YouTube and get that set up. So if I don't get a upload a video, if I don't get to upload a video, I'll log in here and go live when I'm at the office. To God be the glory. I didn't have to go to soccer practice tonight because my oldest son is on a high school retreat. So they gone for a few days. What's today? Wednesday. Gone for a few days at high school retreat. One thing about these private schools, they get right on into it. My goodness. Talking about high school retreat, we got to charge all account. How many other dollars? I can't remember. $600, $400. I'm like, my goodness. The first day of school, y'all taking these kids on a retreat. He go on the retreat, and the bus get hit. The bus ain't got no air conditioning. He's sweating like a prostitute in church who's sleeping with the pastor. He's sweating. Sent a video to his mama, drenched in sweat. The bus get hit. They stuck on the side of the road, waiting on the police to come. Ain't no AC. It's 90-some degrees. I'm like, man, they better be glad it's a private school because somebody be done file a lawsuit. But I say, man, son out here getting in wrecks. So we gonna let this here thing warm up a little bit. I wanted to pop on here because it was something I seen today. One of my homeboys sent it to me, and I wanted to touch on that, but I really don't know. This here. Let me see. I can't pull nothing up because I ain't trying to have all that going. Let's see here. Y'all gotta forgive me. I ain't logged into my account on here. See that there? Seeing this here. I just pulled this up on the thing.
Real quick, Jonathan Majors expresses his undying deep love for Megan Good at Jason Lee's Impact War on Zeus Network. Check this out.
I love you. I love you beyond all limit. With all my strength. With all my heart, I love you. I'm supposed to be this tough and strong when you done carried me so many nights. I love you. Through the fire.
So yeah. Oh John. Oh John, you hear me? I think I cut that off there. Yeah, somebody sent that to me. And when I seen that, my homeboy sent that to me. And my homeboy been married for a long time, probably over 10 years. And I'm married. And when we looked at that, we was like, man, it's a lot going on right there because, when you've been married long as I've been married, I don't know if I'd be up there like that, doing all that crying like that now. Now I can see tears coming, maybe a little bit of snot, but that right there it's a representation of what it's one end of the spectrum of what we see in love and relationships. Because although it looks kind of weird in the sense of like, man, how can y'all be this deep the way y'all is like snotting? Like, this ain't just like, no, hey, I want to say shout out to my woman. You've been amazing. You've been a rock. You've been the wind beneath my wings. Y'all give me a second. Like, it ain't like that to where he just was up there, wiping a little tear. Like, he was up there with the ugly face crying. And then he hit a little note at the end. Through the fire. I'm guessing that's a song. But just, and it was like a kind of like a free slave speech, and you kind of looking at it like, man, boy, that thing deep. And then I also looked at it from a husband's perspective. I looked at it from Devon Franklin perspective. And I'm like, and so I'm sitting there and I'm picturing Cherie Gaskins. And I'm picturing Cherie Gaskins being in the audience within a couple years, or however long it's been, a few years, within 5 years of us being divorced, and this celebrity man who bigger than me in every sense of the word, bigger muscles, whatever, bigger brand, is up there, ugly face crying, snotting, Kleenex, crying over my ex-wife, and then she boohoo crying. I'm like, man, boy, this is deep. This is deep. And I seen it. My homeboy sent it to me, the page that posted it. When I went to the comments, the comments is not relationship coaches. It's everyday people who at the job on social media, and nobody believed it. I was like, man. And that's also tough too. A lot of people don't realize this. We don't think about this with relationships in the public eye. A lot of times stuff could go to happening behind closed doors in public relationships. And when I say public relationships, I mean even my relationship is a public relationship because I'm a public figure. And it don't have to be somebody that's a mega celebrity. Like, it can be somebody with 10,000 followers on TikTok. That's a public relationship. But a lot of times what people don't realize is the prison that public relationships are in because of being public. And nobody wants to prove their haters right. Everybody wants to have the last laugh. Nobody want to have somebody that's like, oh, I told you. Oh, I told you. It wasn't going to last. Like, nobody wants that. And so when you take and you, like, you could go through stuff behind closed doors and you be trapped because you don't want to prove people right. You don't want people to be able to say, see there, told you, knew it wasn't real, knew it was this and that. So I was thinking about it even as from a husband perspective, like, to see that if I got a divorce and seen a woman, boom, but feel like right away supporting another man, it kind of make it like, man, was they talking while we was married? Like, did they meet like 10 years ago on a Tubi movie or something? Like, what's going on right here? And it just kind of led me to that thought of just how much we struggle in love on every end of it. And it gets hard for me because every day, I have to coach a man or a woman and have to come to the realization with them on the phone that they in a struggle of relationship. and that it's not gonna last, that it's not worth the time and the energy that they putting into it. And it's always easy for us on the outside looking in. It's like it's easy to see something. Now I can't speak for Megan and Megan Good and Jonathan Major's relationship, because me looking at it, it looks real, but it looks like a trauma bond. It look, and I don't know what trauma bond mean, but what I mean is in the literal sense of it looks like two people who experiencing trauma bonding. And if that's what it means, then that's what it means, but that's what it looks like. Because you got to think about it, a woman coming out of a divorce. And I seen this little clip where she said, and now before I talk about this, I want you to understand, like, I don't care about these people relationship, but I comment on this stuff because people sent it to me, because it is impacting and affecting the way we view relationships, because the media has that much power. But personally, I could not care less. I'm not gonna lose a wink of sleep. I ain't gonna sleep no better, no worse. I could not care less. So I want y'all to understand that. Now I seen this clip. I think it was from Shannon Sharp podcast. Well, but I don't know. It could have been somewhere else. And she said that her biggest fear was getting married and then her husband leaving her after 10 years, because that's what happened with her mom and dad. I think that's what she said. And forgive me if I'm misquoting it, but I was like, man, that is tough. And then the way she said it, it was like, it sounded like she was saying that her ex-husband left her, that like he wanted the divorce. And I thought I remember he filed for the divorce, but I didn't know if that was just like, okay, I'm the man, I'll put in the paperwork, take the brunt of this, but this a mutual decision. So I don't really know what happened there, but I was thinking about that, to where, think about it, if you in the public eye and then you get left, and or you go through a divorce after being together for like a decade, and after making a big deal about it by like writing a book. And I remember when they wrote that book, when Megan Good and Devon Franklin wrote that book, I said to myself, I said, that's a mistake. I said, that's a mistake. I said, they doing too much. So they're doing too much, because you put a spotlight on yourself and you usher yourself into spiritual warfare. When you step up and you speak out for God and you talk about stuff that's going to promote kingdom living, you finna go through spiritual warfare. And if both parties are not spiritually mature and walking with the Holy Spirit, like completely renewed, you're gonna fail, because the adversary has tests that, unless you are girded with the strength of the Lord, you're going to fail. And that's why I try to warn people. And that's why I don't let nobody. One time, me and my wife went on, we did a virtual seminar with Kev on stage, for Kev on stage. And I did it because Kev on stage called me, and his wife, she was putting together an event, and they had a nice old paycheck for us. And so I did it, but then the pandemic happened and we had to move it to virtual. And my wife is not the type that want to be out there and be out in public. So we on the virtual, and we get on the virtual, and then they tell us we gotta like talk, like we teaching us a lesson. And I'm like, ain't nobody tell us that. Like, we thought we was getting interviewed, because my wife could answer questions now, but she wasn't ready to sit there and do no dissertation with PowerPoints. And there was other couples that was doing dissertation with PowerPoints. because that's what they do. It's their business. That's not me and my wife business. So we got there. People probably was watching it like, man, boy, they probably ain't happy. Boy, they probably, man, he probably abusing her, man. They probably, ooh. Because my wife was sitting there and she was looking like a hostage because we ain't signed up for that. We thought we was going to be interviewed. And people don't realize that when you're in a public relationship. So that's why when y'all be writing me, Tony, can you tell Cherie to do a video? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You just got to struggle. If you think your life is not going to get better until you hear from Cherie Gaskins about what you need to do with your life, you're going to have to struggle. Because I'm not finna drag my wife out into the public eye when I already be ready to virtually slap people. She ain't built like that. She'll take a life. She'll take a life. My wife is not the type. She's not the type to be going back and forth with you. She will bash your head in the concrete. Like, I don't even deal with her because if I had to get into it with her, I have to send her to meet the Lord. Otherwise, I'm going to meet him. And so I don't play no games. I don't even like to horseplay with my wife. Like, she do not play no games. She pretty, but she will monkey stomp the living dog at you. You hear me? So that's why I don't, and I don't know if that's all Jamaican women, but I know it's my Jamaican woman. So that's why I don't drag her out here to the public eye. And that's what I try to tell these young couples that come to me for coaching. I try to tell them, like, listen, be careful when you want to start a podcast together. Be careful wanting to start a podcast together. Be careful wanting to go on tour together. Be careful wanting to write a book together because because marriage is of God. Because what marriage does is it takes you out of fornication. So when you out of fornication, you got that much more of a chance to be closer to God. And when you come out of fornication and you go out here and you talking and you representing God, you know who wants you? The devil. He want to end you. So if you notice, almost every public couple that are public as a couple, like they doing stuff together, they promoting, and they like almost flaunting their relationship. I go to praying for them. I'm like, Lord, they don't know what they're doing. Just like we seen, what's his name? Iman Shumpert and Tayana Taylor. When I seen that, I said the same thing. I said, listen, man, it's public eye, and they young and they vibrant, and she like to dance and sing. He like to be in the public eye. He an actor. He want to be seen. He want a podcast. It's gonna be a lot of challenges. And that's why I try to tell people it is a difference between privacy and secrecy. So everybody should publicly know when you marry. Like, you shouldn't be single online if you marry. But other than that, you got to be very careful. You got to make sure everything in your relationship is sold up. You got to make sure everything is in order because you're going to go through so much. And see, for me, because I'm so transparent, I tell so much business. And I tell all of my business. I tell all of everybody else business, not in a literal sense, but meaning I talk about people if they in the public eye and they making a show of themselves and it's affecting relationships and the perspective, the viewpoint of relationships, I'll touch on it. I'll touch on it and talk about it. And with that right there, listen, I think that's why women don't try me. Like the good book say, resist the devil, he'll flee. So I think that's why women don't try me because they're like, man, Tony talk too much. He might be done screenshot my DM or be done talking about me online. So I don't really have to deal with like thoughts or jump offs or prostitutes or Instagram models. I don't have to deal with all of that because I'm too transparent. I'm too public. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I will tell. If a woman come shoot a shot at me, that's content. Oh, you content now. Yeah, you want to bring your musky behind over here and try me like a lane? You want to try me like a lane? Like you see my fine behind wife. I don't care what season of life she in, she fine. I don't care if she got baby weight on her. I don't care if she got the baby weight off. I don't care I don't care if she got a breakout. She fine. You bring your little musky butt over here, bothering with me trying to be fresh. I'm gonna expose you. Because that's what they do to the guys. When the guys get dumb and then he stopped paying us, these women be online with all kind of screenshots. Soon that wire don't hit, they be online with that screenshot. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna be out here content, podcast, interview, everything. And so listen, and I do that intentionally and I talk like that because it does put a hedge around me. And it does is resisting the devil and he will flee. And that's why I try to tell you. So when you see this right here, like with the Megan Good situation, now their situation, how he's up there sniding, giving that slave speech, their situation could actually be real. Like that could be real love. And then her and Devon Franklin could have been the fake love. But him and her could actually be real love. But now, one thing it looked like though, when he doing all that crying and she doing all that crying, what a lot of times women don't realize is that'll buy him a lick. And what I mean by that is a man will love a woman so deeply and so intensely that every act of love, it's like depositing into an account. So if a man deposits $100 every day into an account, and he does this for 365 days. So now he can go and withdraw $6,000 at one time because he put in $100 for 365 days. So when you think about this as like a relationship and what they call the love account, the love bank, my bucket, when you think about it like that, if someone is loving someone, I'm gonna say someone instead of saying a man to a woman, because sometimes it's the woman to the man. But if someone is loving their partner and every day they show an act of love, they adding to that. So that's why you always got to be a little leery when you're getting too much loving. That's why they come up with the term love bombing. When you're getting too much loving, you got to pump the brakes. So in every situation, because you got to realize we human. Now, I don't have no intentions to do nothing to my wife. But today I had in my phone, on my calendar, it said, let's see what it said. The day the 14th, and it said, schedule Cherie deep tissue at the spa. So that popped up at 10 o'clock this morning. And 10 o'clock this morning. So I called the spa and I scheduled a deep tissue massage for tomorrow. And now on top of that right there, it was something else that had just happened today or yesterday that she did or got. And I went to thinking to myself, I said, boy, I'm over loving, boy. I'm loving too good right here now. So that had me due for a little attitude. So I'm like, okay, all this here loving I'm doing next week, I can just get my attitude for no reason. Because hey, you went to the spa last week. Let me give you a little attitude. That's how people be doing. That's how they think. Now, I'm not going to do that, but I'm using myself to make light of the situation. But what I'm saying is that snotty nose slave speech Jonathan Majors gave, he get on one of these in. About 6 months, they get in an argument. Girl. And guess what? It'll get forgave because that love account done got so many deposits. Let's say that love account done got 36,500 worth of deposits, $100 a day for 365 days. It right here might be worth 20,000 of it, depending on what the person done gone through. So now, right there, somebody who ain't never gone through nothing, they came up in the lap of luxury, suburbs, 2-parent home, car at 16, vacation, 2-week vacation with the family every year, private school. They never gone through nothing. Right there, relationship could be over. But if you done went through trauma, turmoil, ups and downs, heartbreak, that ain't nothing in the grand scheme of things. You like, man, I done been through worse. And then the thing that people do is they get in a relationship, and in that relationship, somebody will love, and then the true colors start to show. And when the true colors start to show, then it's like, well, this can't be who I love. Like, this isn't really that person because they did this. And then we'll start to remember more of the laughs and the smiles than this detrimental, toxic behavior. And that's what sends us into that struggle bus love of where we done got set up. So it's too early, to tell when you on the outside reading, you on the outside looking in. And I'm just commenting on it because it's in the public eye. So if it's out there in the public and it's affecting the way we look at stuff, because it actually could be the opposite. And that's one thing I found being a life coach. As a life coach and as a celebrity life coach, it's situations where I have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And in working with celebrities, I have to sign a non-disclosure. And so I may be at their home or meeting at an offsite location, like at a safe house or somewhere in a undisclosed location. And I'm getting the story from my celebrity clients, and the story that they have to tell me have to be 100% true for me to help. And the story that I'm being told and that I can verify will be completely different than what's posted on the blog site, on Instagram, on like the Shade Room or Hollywood Unlocked or Bossip or Baller Alert. The real story will be completely different. And that's where I learn. And that's why I try to tell y'all, because a lot of times I come on here and because I'm country and because I just be talking, people think that I'm regular. They think that I'm like the other people with a microphone in their face, not realizing that I'm an actual life coach for multi-billion-dollar organizations. And I am flown in. One year I was flown in weekly to a multi-billion-dollar organization to work with their employees that they were paying tens of millions of dollars a year, and had to sign a non-disclosure. And I'm working with individuals 4:00 in the morning, talking them off the ledge, 2:00 in the morning, and working with even men 4 hours at a time. But because of what I do, I kind of see it almost like CIA work. So I can't talk about it. I can't say names. That particular contract I'm talking about, in my contract, it said that I couldn't even say the company name at my family barbecue. They literally had in the contract, you cannot say who you work for at your family barbecue. I was like, now y'all doing too much. Now, what kind of contract is this? It was telling me like I can't tell my friends, I can't tell my family. And that's how I've learned that we can't really always believe what we see. And it's crazy how the world works, because I was telling my wife, I'm like, you know what's crazy is that anything that is posted, the world immediately will believe half of it. And I'm like, somebody could post right now. And that's another thing. That's why when people do post stuff, I don't fully believe it, like fully. I believe half of it. But I also realize that when people be like, oh, this person lying, like when Cassie came out with what she said about P. Diddy, from me coaching at that level and coaching celebrities, I could believe it all because I could read somebody like Cassie. I could read her and I know her type of celebrity. And then I could read P. Diddy and I know his type of celebrity. And I could tell, me personally, and all of that right there, I believe every word of it. I believe every word of it. Or what she said. Now, as a man, a brother came out a little while later, and I believe maybe 60 to 75% of it. Cause I'm like, okay, I could read his type, and he coming out because he mad he stopped getting paid. He ain't getting paid, he said. So now you can't believe everything. You can't believe everything. And then also, I couldn't tell if he was into men or into women, or if he into both. And if a man is into men or he into men and women, you can't believe nothing he say. You can't. A man who will do something that is labeled an abomination to God, you can't believe nothing come out of his mouth. Even if it's the truth, it still could be a lie. And that's why, if y'all notice, when you look around and you go into the neighborhood, if you from a black neighborhood, you'll notice that the scammingest man in the neighborhood be the gay man, because he been tapped into a whole nother realm of living. Like, he doing something that his whole race is ostracizing him for. His family, his heritage, his race, his church, his religion. So at that point, it's like, what won't he do? Because if he'll take that kind of chance and be okay being ostracized and talked about, oh, he'll forward the check. Oh, he'll hit that account. Yeah, he'll lie. And so when I heard Buddy come out with that story on P. Diddy, I didn't believe his whole part of it, because I could read them. And that's what you have to realize, is we don't even process and we don't take into account the discouragement that we have when we see what we think is a cute couple, a handsome couple, a good couple go through a divorce or go through tough times. Now, me personally, being in a relationship, y'all got to forgive my wife text me. She give me something to eat. She trying to keep their weight on me. I be fasting a little bit every day. She be trying to feed me. Why she trying not to have me out here looking good? Man, listen. And we don't think about that. But when I see a relationship, as you know, with anything that you do, whatever you do every day, if somebody bring that to you, like if you work in HR, if you work in HR and you're an HR manager and you've been doing that for 10 years, 15 years, if I come to you with an HR issue, whether it's hiring, firing, payroll, if you've been working in that space for 10 years, you're gonna have an answer just like that. Boom, you're gonna have an answer. Now, if I go down here to the logistics department who handle the scheduling of the shipments, and I say, hey, what do I do about this payroll issue? They're gonna be like, huh? I don't know. What you asking me for? And that's how it is. So when you do something every day and you study it every day, you start to notice patterns, theories, laws. You testing your hypothesis every day. And so you start to be able to predict the possibility of success. And you're able to look at something and say, oh, that ain't gonna last. And so when you see somebody who doesn't study it every day, they could look at a situation or a relationship and say, that ain't gonna last. I give them 3 years, give them 5 years, and they don't even study relationships like that. They just could look at it and tell. But we don't realize how that affects us. How when we see the pastor who's standing up preaching go through a divorce, a little piece of your hope for love dies, whether you admit it or not. Like it's easy to say, oh, that's just a human. I don't take humans serious. I don't process that, or that's a lie. Because you will have to consciously and actively refute what you've seen and explain to your brain why you don't believe that and why that's not going to affect your outlook on love. And that's why you always see, I see people all the time, they'll put it in my comments when I post my wife, if something ever happened to y'all, I'm gonna be so heartbroken. Or somebody will get a divorce. Devon Franklin and Megan Good get a divorce. Some people will comment, man, if Tony Gaskins ever get a divorce, we know it's over with. And just subconsciously, we will put our stock and our hope in people that's in the public eye. And that's a huge mistake because you rarely can believe what you see. And what I have found is when it looks bad, sometimes behind closed doors, it's actually good. And if I can explain this to you and help you understand, like, if like me and my wife, we recorded a podcast interview one time, just me and her. And I live with her and she lived with me. So at the end of the podcast, it was my podcast, the Tony Gaskins Show. At the end of the podcast, we was totally fine with the podcast being released. We was totally fine. The guy who recorded it, he said, I'm not releasing this. I'm not releasing this. And it literally was because he thought we were arguing. But we were bantering like more so than husband and wife. We was bantering like brother and sister. We was bantering like homies. Like, for an example, it was like, really, I gave you a chance when I met you. Like, you wasn't really on my level. It's all of that way. And then my wife, I gave you a chance. You had on shoes that were 2 sizes too big, and you had on this right here. And I'm like, but listen, nah, you really went all the way on. And so we doing like that. So to him listening, because he's so accustomed to, he work in a church with a pastor and the pastor wife, and he's so accustomed to couples having to put on a facade and to look perfect to the public because everybody is reading into something. He was like, I can't release this. I can't release this. But we was like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Release it. Like we were just having a conversation like that's. So if somebody listen in to me and my wife talking, they'll think we finna get a divorce tomorrow. Because we'll go back and forth, not no yelling or cursing, but it just will be direct talk, just banter. And we totally, because we see it like we best friends. So we don't yell and curse and disrespect each other, but that don't mean that we're going to agree about everything. And so we can have a conversation about Kobe and Jordan and be going at it. And somebody think we arguing. And that's what I mean, that a lot of times, but when you in it and you see it, then like, whoa, okay, that's real love. Like, I know it sound like they don't like each other. I know it sound like they picking on each other, or it sound like they making fun of each other or doing whatever, but that is because of the closeness of their relationship. Whereas when you see the couples that's just always it's just so many smiles and laughter, and and there's one thing that me and my wife talk about all the time is like when we see couples online and they'll be in bed and the woman rolling around on the man and the woman on top of the man, or the man is standing up and he pick up the woman and he holding the woman and they kissing. And we look at that and we like, that is so stupid. Like, you didn't even get to have a moment. You had to go get a tripod, set up a camera, set up the lighting, and then come jump in his arms and kiss. And then after kissing, look over at the camera. Like, y'all might well call Tyler Perry for a role at this point. It's like, don't nobody want to see that. Don't nobody care about that. But that will literally, that image that was set up, it was lit, it was staged, it was written out, it was rehearsed. It took 4 shots to get it right. That reel will get 100,000 likes, and a woman will see that and say to her husband, why don't you hold me like that? Why don't you lift me up like that? For one, I can't lift your behind up. For what? Why don't you kiss me like that? Not realizing that that was just all acting. Like, we literally will forget that the reels we see is all acting. And me and my wife talk about this all the time because we get so caught up living life that we forget the film. And we're like, okay, yeah, we know we're supposed to show love. We know you're supposed to show like a happy relationship. We know you're supposed, but when you really got it and you really live in it, you forget to set up your camera. And you don't want to turn your camera on really because it take away from the moment. Because you got to be figuring, okay, let me get in here, put my code in. Okay, get the camera. Okay, let me get the right distance. Let me get the right lighting. Let me do this right here. And so now your relationship is a production. And guess what production does? Production induces stress. Production induces anxiety. So by the time a couple get done producing their reel of this prank or this whatever, for the sake of social media to make money, they don't even have the energy and the time and the space to love because you tired. You want to kick your feet up now. You just got off set producing this fake love movie, this rom-com. Like, I look at the skit channels, like on TikTok. Like, my wife would show me the skits. Well, not the skits, the pranks, where the woman will do something or the man will do something. And when you really think about this, think about walking in your house. Think about walking in your house to see the person you love. And when you open your door, a bucket of paint fall on your head. Ain't nothing cute about that. Ain't nothing funny about that. But it's couples that do that for a living. So they have now thrust themselves into a life of trauma and anxiety to go viral on TikTok and Instagram. And they may never go through a divorce because it's how they earn a living. It's like you feel like divorcing your job every day, but you're not going to divorce your job because it pay your bills. And so and then not only is you getting pranked, it's startling you, your heart is racing. And then when you get tired of the real thing, because it's just too startling, it's too angering, it's too upsetting, it's inducing anxiety, You're scared to close your eyes. You're scared to go to sleep because you don't know when your partner is going to prank you again for TikTok or Instagram. So now you get in on it. You get in on it. And now you're just acting. So now you got to tell your partner about the prank. And they got the channel they Denzel Washington to make the prank look real. And some of them could pull it off. And so this is what we seeing. But what you don't realize is that right there can affects millions of relationships. Like I remember my wife used to, and when she's showing me the pranks and stuff like that, she'll be laughing so hard. Like it'll be so funny to her. But what it looks like, it'll look like the couple is really happy. Like it looks like they're really happy. But I know that they're not really that happy because it's a production. And I have produced films, and I have written films, and I have directed films. And I know what it's like to have to set up a camera and have a light and to get the shot right. It ain't no one take thing. So even though it's for TikTok or Instagram, production is not easy. That's why I keep my stuff so simple. That's why 90% of my videos be on my cell phone. It's just now that I'm in my office that I got the little webcam and got the little mic and got a little light in front of me. But I keep it simple. I ain't got no producing. I ain't doing no editing. All of that. I got fancy tonight pulling up a video. First time ever doing that. So I see these relationship productions and I'm like, man, that's tiring. That's draining. That's not, you ain't got no room to love. And then guess what? With struggle love, the reason why it's become struggle love is because you expose it to too many people. You got too many of your family in your business, or you have too many of your friends in your business. You tell it, or you on social media with your business. So now all you doing is inducing spiritual warfare. And so now all you doing is fussing and fighting, fussing and fighting. That's all you doing. And there's so many couples that are happy online and miserable in real life, like at each other neck and just ready to be done. And guess what? Eventually, the levees break. Eventually, the straw break the camel back. And we'll see. And I don't watch the little channels, the little YouTube skit channels, but for those of y'all who into YouTube, just go down the list of how many YouTube couples that done went through a breakup or divorce or outside baby or some cheating stuff. And then to the point that sometimes they will stage some cheating and stage some drama just for the channel, just to make more money. They'll stage heartbreak. They'll stage breakups. They'll stage different things. I seen one guy who be on here and he does relationship videos all the time. Some of y'all asked me about him. And then I seen somebody sent me a video say he going through a divorce. And he sit on YouTube and he evaluate relationship stuff all day long and then went through a divorce. And I probably have only watched in total maybe 3 minutes of his stuff and people sent it to me. And I can't remember his name. It's a black guy. I think he got a beard. And he might wear glasses or he might not, but I can't remember. But some of y'all have sent me this stuff. And it was one video that another guy who don't like him was talking about his divorce and was analyzing one of his videos and saying, oh, he's going through a divorce. Well, he done went through a divorce. And I'm like, man, see what I'm talking about? You got to have your life sold up. So the reason why I've been talking about love and relationships since 2007 and haven't gone through a divorce is because I'm sensitive to the Holy Spirit. Like I evaluate my heart and I evaluate my behavior as a man. And if I get too beside myself, too cocky, too complacent, too egotistical, too what have you, I could hear the spirit say, hey, Tony, that's not leadership. That's not gentleness. That's not a good husband. That's not a good father. I can hear that. But see, if you're not walking with God, if you're not supping with the spirit, when you get out here and you talking about loving relationships, you're gonna get thrust into spiritual warfare. You're gonna go through it. And if you're not mindful of what you're looking at, if you ain't mindful of what you're looking at, it's gonna affect you. And so what I start to notice is a lot of these men that's out here talking about love relationships, it's hard to talk about that stuff and not be affected by all the videos of women cheating or women being gold diggers or women doing this and the feminist movement and all. It's hard not to get caught up in that stuff and to start to look at, because I remember when Buddy was alive, the man who sit in the dark with the thing spinning on his desk and drinking the Red Bulls, when he was alive, it was certain little clips that went viral that people would send to me, and I'd be like, I'm looking at my wife. Yeah. I'm looking at it had me questioning. So I said, okay, if somebody who is in this as deep as I am and has studied this on the level that I study it could be affected, imagine your everyday man. It is going to absolutely destroy his relationship because of the power of the mind, because of what we watch, what we hear. That stuff has power and it affects us. And you got to think about that. Now I got on here to do a Q&A as well. I wanted to touch on that struggle love. Yeah, Tubi is the love. I'm putting me something on Tubi. When I get my little budget, I'm produce me a little relationship film, put it on Tubi. If you have a question, put the hashtag Q. Yeah, horn beeping out there. Tony, I was lied to, and I was dating a guy for a year and found out he was married. I'm finding it hard to let go. What do I do to move on? It's been 3 months and I'm devastated. Well, how many coaching sessions have you had? How many therapy sessions have you had? How many books have you read? How many conferences have you attended? How much weight have you lost in a healthy way or put on in a healthy way? How many other books, like outside of relationship books, have you read? That's the key right there. People are oftentimes asked, like, how do I move on? Thinking that moving on mean like going to bed and waking up tomorrow. That's not how you move on. In order to move on, you got to do new work. You got to get new knowledge. So I had some sessions today and I'm talking to my clients and we talking about the client. I mean, we talking about the relationship. And as we're addressing certain things, we're able to label it. And what I mean by label it is a lot of times what we call love is actually self-hate. One of my clients today was using the term loyal, that they are loyal, like too loyal to people who not loyal to them. And I say, that's not loyal. That's a lack of self-worth. That's codependency. It ain't you being loyal. That's stupidity. A lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding. And so that's what you have to realize. And you got to understand, like, once you start to work and you start to do the work, you'll start to be able to change the way you see things, and you'll stop calling certain things love that is actually self-hate, or that is actually abuse, or that is actually codependency. And you'll start to understand, okay, so what I thought I had, I didn't have. I wasn't in love. I was in affliction. I was in affection. I was in lust. I was in a situationship. I was in codependency. That wasn't love at all, because love would do this. Love would feel like this. Love would bring this. We mislabel love all the time. And so we have to stop lying on love. Love calls, say, hey, keep my name out your mouth when when you dealing with pain and trauma and crying. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Love ain't got nothing to do. Love conquers all. Love is pure. Love brings peace and happiness. Love don't bring pain. Love is not pain. A relationship, meaning two people trying to relate, trying to have a relationship, can be in pain. But love is absent from the relationship. You can have a relationship without love. But you can't have love without a relationship. Love will produce a relationship, but a loving and healthy relationship. But self-hate and insecurity and trauma can also produce a relationship, because misery wants company, trauma wants a bond, pain wants misery and company. So you could be with somebody and love not be in the midst, and your heart could be ripped out every day. You could get hurt every single year, and you will move on and say, man, love sucks, man, love hurts, man, love this, love that. No, that's the relationship. It wasn't love that hurt you. It was someone who didn't know how to love that hurt you, and you confused the two. Now that I said that, you're going to see my quote online. It went viral when I tweeted it one time. When I asked, he says he wants to build a friendship first, but asked for still go on dates and FaceTime. Is he just being a man by trying me? I don't like being confused, but don't want to look desperate. Well, I tell you what, Kay. So when you have that color skin, with that hairstyle, with straight teeth and a full bottom lip, a man, y'all gotta forgive my bottom lip swole today. I had ate some sesame last night, so the boy looked sick. He looked unwell to me in the face. He on TikTok making all these cucumber recipe. My wife wanted to make one last night, broke me out. Lip swole up on me. It's almost back down. It's almost back down. It looked normal because black people have lips on us, but it's a little swole still. I woke up this morning with my lips swole. I say, baby, what the world was in that cucumber? This why you can't bring white people recipe in here. This man about to have me going to anaphylactic shock. A raggedy cucumber recipe. So now I have to go to the doctor and do my allergy test because I lip been swelling. Listen to me. I'm gonna tell you this right here. So, Kay, what I was about to say, how a man reads you, he gonna read and he gonna put you in a box and he gonna say, "Oh, it looked like you got some good the dun on you." So what he want to do is he just want to have a little fun dip. Remember fun dip where you take that stick and dip it in that Kool-Aid. You take that stick, dip. He just want to have a little fun dip. Because a man who really like you, he never gonna try to have sex with you before having a title with you. A man who really like you and you look like his wife and you look like you got a potential, First, he's just gonna look at looks. So if you look like what he could take home to mama, what he could take around his homeboys, what he could take anywhere out and about, if you look like that, a man is gonna want a title. And the reason why a man gonna want a title is because men are territorial. We want a title. It's just like, is a man gonna go buy a car and not get the title to the car? If he buy the car and don't get the title to the car, he don't own the car. So a man have that mentality in everything. A man not finna do business. You ain't finna sit down with no man and say, oh yeah, so yeah, we finna sit down, yeah, let's go into this here business deal and give me 10K off for you, and you own 50% of the business. What a man gonna say? All right, let's get the paperwork together. So what women don't realize is when a man tell you a title don't mean nothing or marriage don't mean nothing, he contradicting himself, because never will he go into an agreement without a contract. Never will he purchase a house without getting a deed. Never will he purchase a car without getting a title. So when a man want to sleep with you in the guise of we friends, that's all he wants you for. So you say, I don't want to look desperate. You sleep with a man that's not your man, like not your boyfriend, fiance. Like you ain't supposed to be doing that anyways if you Christian. But everybody don't live the way they're supposed to live, and majority of us didn't. So I understand it but you're in sin. It's your personal choice. I talk to Christian men and women every day who living in fornication. And some struggle with it, some don't struggle with it. Some just commit to that life of sin and just hoping that God is forgiving them. Next video, cute outfit ideas on a budget, please. The thing about that now, Shan, I could do it, but I don't want nobody out here misconstruing. And on here, oh, he do it. Outfit idea. He might want him a little booty hole. Because you got to realize most male stylists like men. It's a handful of them that like women. But, so, got to be careful out here, because I do not want no man DMing me with the wrong idea. And I have to slump them. When I get the sense that a guy is looking at me or could be interested, I get nervous and try to ignore. Could coaching help with this? Or if a guy is interested, truly, he will approach. I also, now I'm bad with the abbreviations. I don't know. I really don't be knowing what y'all be talking about with the abbreviation, because your name Lakeisha, but to me, WFM mean white female. But female is one word, so the M can't mean nothing. So I have no clue what WFM mean. Maybe it mean work for myself. You see what I'm saying? So y'all got to spell that out. Post you another message so I can see. And the nervousness is good. That's a good thing. Lakeisha, is a good problem to have, because you better off being nervous than to being ready. Like Tiffany Haddish be saying, you better off being nervous. Like if you look at a man, if a man look at you or he looking at you and you look back at him, and you go to something like that, like you get too, no, so you better off being nervous, because a man wants a woman who is modest and knows her worth, in a sense to where she's not desperate or thirsty. But I done been out and about, and I'm a people watcher, and I have. But now, what I've noticed is that a lot of Black women recognize me from social media because I have been going through. Because sometimes I forget that I'm online and that I have over 3 million people online, and so sometimes I forget that. Well, I always forget it. So I'll be walking, I'll be people watching, and I look at this lady, and she will stare me down. I'm like, my goodness. I'm just looking around, but my goodness, you done locked eye with me, like staring at me like you want to lick me in the mouth. And then I realize after a couple seconds, then she'll, hey, I follow you online. What's your name again? What's your name again? Kevin Hart. That ain't your name. Um, um, and I'm like, you don't follow me because you don't know my name. But that go to show you that's what I learned, that I have learned that from that right there. It's a lot of people who watch and listen and just too arrogant to subscribe. Like they just want to eavesdrop and get free knowledge, but they own trauma won't let them subscribe. And from me noticing this, when women be staring, it has made me look at the way a woman carries herself totally different. Because it's always cool if she recognize who she looking at. But if a woman just looking at a man to be looking at a man and looking too hard, it's never attractive to a man, to a real man. Because he gonna think, well, man, she look at every man like that, and she looking at everybody, and she always gonna be like that, and she always gonna be that open-eyed and desperate. So you got to think about that. And I get that question a lot from women saying, hey, how can I stop being so shy? Just be yourself. Like it's nothing wrong with being shy. Ain't nothing wrong with being shy. Like it's a man's job to put a woman at ease and to be warm and welcoming and chivalrous and comforting enough, calm enough to where a woman can kind of relax, take a deep breath, and rest in her feminine. But it's natural to be nervous and a little, uneasy at first because you don't know what's coming. My boyfriend believes in Jesus as God's son, but he doesn't have a strong spiritual life. How should I help him, or should I expect to be like this? Well, lyrics of the heart. My first question to you is, are y'all sleeping together? And because that's how you help him, by representing Christ. So if you sleep with him, if you're sexually active with him, you have no influence in his life. And the reason why I asked that question, because that's the number one thing that a lot of times when I'm talking to Christian women, they'll say, hey, my guy, not that strong spiritually, or he knows God, or he believes in God, and he says he's a Christian, but he's not that strong spiritually. For one, I really want men and women to stop putting so much stock on that, because none of us are fit to be a judge of someone else's spiritual character, someone else's spiritual life. So if a person is not in deliberate sin, then that's all we can ask for. Like, you shouldn't expect your spouse to speak in tongues, or to pray the paint off the wall, or to reach out to you and ask you to pray together. A relationship with God is intimate, it's singular, and it's solo. And when strongholds need to be broken, two or three can gather together, and there God will be in the midst. But we can go to God by ourselves. And so that's how a lot of people's spiritual walk is. Like, in my marriage of 17 years, my wife and I have like held hands and prayed together maybe 3 times in 17 years. And the reason why we happily married is because God resides in her and God resides in me. But almost every couple that I have coached who pray together as like religion and tradition, they break up because you cannot play with the Holy Spirit. You cannot, you have to realize that spirits are real. So when you sit down and you go to pray, you are summoning a spirit. But if you're living in fornication, you're summoning demon spirits, demonic spirits. You're not summoning the Holy Spirit. God knows your heart. So if you're in willing sin and you're just using God as like an ornament, God is like sprinkling on the cake, God like decoration. Like you don't have a heart after God. You don't have a heart for God. You will suffer through life because you are summoning spirits, but you don't have the armor and the protection of God around you because you ask amiss. And you make it, I'm not talking about this question right here from Lyrics of the Heart. I'm just expounding upon what I'm talking about. And you're making a mockery of God. So I tell people all the time, like when you really get to know God, then you're not finna play with God. You're not finna play with God. Like me personally, I have no desire whatsoever to pray with my wife because I want her prayers to be her prayers. And I want my prayers to be my prayers. And God hears our prayers and he knows our heart and he intersects our prayers where our prayers align. But I don't want to pray over my wife because I don't want my prayers to be her prayers because she may not want that in that season. It may not be what she wants. And if two are not on one accord, then your prayers don't get past the ceiling. So I rather her have her intimate time with God and her pray and me have my intimate time with God. And then when we need to pray together, when we both want the same thing in a certain area, that's when the two of us will come together and pray. But other than that, and she's the same exact way. So you also have to understand too your spiritual match. And one of the things that so many singles make a mistake of is making God like a teacup poodle and just thinking that God is like this like cute little, oh, let's pray together. We don't pray together. Let's come together and pray together. Heavenly Father, we just want to call you into the room. And then you want to do all them words and all of that. And I can't, it's so many women on a coach and they're like, he doesn't pray over me. He don't pray for me. I'm like, hey, never prayed with my wife and we happily married. So it's not a one size fits all. You have to know who you with and you got to look at the works because what we forget is that the Pharisees prayed. They prayed. And so what a lot of people are looking for in a relationship is Pharisee love. The Pharisee prayed and could pray and had all the words, the big words. I mean, what eloquent. It's like that person who stand up in church and be and then they got all the words and they, Lord, and your valor and your excellence and your majesty, and they put all these words together and you like, man, they could pray. They praying for their own ego. They praying for their own admonition. They edifying themselves and God ain't nowhere near it. But when your heart is for God, so if a man or a woman carries themselves in the way of Christ, then you don't have to see nothing else but they works. And where the spiritual thing really matters is when someone is claiming to be like of God or know the Lord, but they living contrary to the word of God. What about so-called Christian married couples that show their intimate moments in bed on IG and post scriptures? I just think it's inappropriate and something should be private. 100%. You are 100%. Whenever you see that, that is a couple who is broke. They broke financially and they broke spiritually. And they are monetizing love to make money. Anytime you see that, nothing about it is real. Nothing about it is authentic. There is, right now, I'm getting chills on my scalp thinking about setting up a camera in my room and climbing into bed and getting under the covers with my wife. I am cringing. I'm right now, I'm plucking out both of my eyes. Just the thought of that make me throw up a little bit in my mouth. That is disgusting. That is, it's just, and that let me know they're not hearing from the Holy Spirit, because if they take and they show, they insinuate intimacy, that is being a hindrance to your brethren. Because we already know that you're supposed to be intimate in marriage. So we don't need a depiction of that. That's clear. But what that is doing is that is being a hindrance to your brethren, because it's making single people desire sex. It's making single people lust. It's also sending the mind. It's insinuating, and the point of pictures and the point of visuals is to prompt the mind to see things. So if a man posts a video of or a picture of him and his wife in their bed, even if they're under the cover, that's gonna make every man picture his wife naked. I don't know how a woman brain works. If a woman will picture the man naked or wonder how big his thing is. But the way the man mind work, if you insinuate, then the male mind is going to start to depict and imagine and see. And so that's why you got to be careful with that. And that's when you know, and just like what you said, Tanya, or it could be Tanya now, forgive me. But just like what you said, that right there, the Bible say, be not a hindrance to your brethren. So here's this, and the fact that you said so-called. So because they disturbing your spirit by showing intimate moments in bed, now, not at dinner holding hands, not walking down the beach, not walking through the park, but intimate moments in bed on IG, that disturbed your spirit. Reading that has disturbed my spirit. So guess what? They're not walking with the Lord, because the Bible tells us not to be a hindrance to our brethren. For example, if we doing something that could send somebody into sin, that could lead somebody into sin, and I had to repent about that, of being like vulgar in the sense of like being too descriptive, because that could send somebody who's struggling with that sin into a place in their mind. So I had tried to use play words sometimes. Now, sometimes I had to go ahead and be real a little bit, but I try to use play words, little kiddie words, the other word for it. And that's what we have a lot of right there. And I'm gonna tell you something, what God is becoming. And I don't understand it, because for so long, For so long, God online was like taboo. Like it was a thing to where people were shamed to be a Christian. Like people were shamed to talk about God. But when genuine Christians started to talk about God, it made the closet Christians come out. And so the closet Christians were like, oh, it's okay to talk about God. Oh, it's okay to say you're a Christian. Oh, okay, all right. Let me like this post. So then the fake Christians started to look and say, hey, hold on. They getting clout for saying God. Oh, man, they making money. I'm missing money now. So now the blessings and the favor of God to get on his children that got a heart for him. So then the children of the devil will start to claim that they children of God online. Oh, God is God. I remember a couple years back, or some years back, I remember listening to some videos of the relationship coach, Swole Buddy, Derek Jackson, and to the other relationship coach, Stephen Labossiere. I remember listening to, the little short 1 minute, 2 minute video that people would send me. And one of the things I noticed back then, it was years ago now, neither one of them said God. Neither one of them said God. So it let me know, I'm like, okay, here go two single men giving relationship advice, and they not talking about God. Because it don't even make sense for a single black man. Black men, we do so terrible in relationships as it is on average that it makes absolutely no sense for a man to dedicate his life to talking about love and relationships if he's not married. So that already threw me for a loop, because I'm like, this is not the authentic Black American male experience. No black man wants to talk about love and relationships online unless you are commissioned by God. And it is a labor of love. Like you going kicking and screaming. Like you are like, I hate. Now, I'm not gonna say hate. Lord forgive me, misusing the word. I do not like talking about love and relationships. It is the last thing. I done asked the Lord so many times, Lord, like Jesus asked him, Lord, can this cup be passed from me? And I remember shutting up and stopped talking about it. And then a fake relationship coach, he wasn't a relationship coach, he was a love poet. I don't know if y'all remember Rob Hill Sr. He was a poet, but his topic was love. So people started booking him for love and relationship seminars. And he made hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of dollars from love and relationship talks. But he wasn't a relationship coach. But nobody really cared because he just talked about love all the time, but it was poetry. He was a writer. And he wasn't a coach. And he wasn't a life coach. He kind of looked down on life coaching a little bit, said he didn't want to be a life coach because he didn't want his money to be tied to someone's growth or healing, which isn't what life coaching is, because life coaching is not intended to keep somebody as a client forever. Like on average, a client will do 4 sessions with a coach on average. Some, if they got a bigger project or they working on something, then it may be a year. But life coaching is not something like therapy to where you in it for 25 years. And so he came out and he started to blow up. And I was talking about business. I had went to business. And my wife, she said, you see there? You relinquished the mantle. Like you stepped down. The people anointed him as the relationship king. And he's not even living it. He's not even married. And I was like, man, that's crazy. And I do not like social media. So at the time, I wasn't even on Instagram. Like everybody was on Instagram. I wasn't even on Instagram. And then my wife told me, she was like, get on Instagram. And I got on Instagram, and Rob Hill Sr. had 400,000 followers at the time. I got on there with 0. And in less than a year, my account had caught up and passed his. Somebody posted about it. But it was because that's my space. That's what I'm called to do. So it was God showing me that if you do what you called to do, I'm going to favor you. It don't mean that other people not gonna have success and have numbers, but you will not be denied. Your message will be heard. So don't worry about who else doing it, because I got out of relationship coaching and talking about it because it was so many fakes and frauds. And there was this young lady named I think her name was Lovey. Back when Twitter was big. I don't know. I haven't seen her at all since then, but I think her name was Lovey, and I believe she ended up getting like a book deal, getting like a New York Times bestseller. But she was kind of like online. She was kind of like I don't know what it was, but one time she wrote this blog. She was a blogger, and one time she wrote a blog, and she lumped me in with some other Black relationship coaches that I had never really heard of. And when I looked at their page, I almost threw up in my mouth. And I remember sitting on the bed for like 3 hours. And I'm like, this can't be real. Because here I am, had dedicated my life to trying to help, genuinely trying to help women, and was the first Black male online, giving a message, bridging the gap between men and women, giving away the game. The first Black male on social media doing this, and then to get lumped in with frauds, because the one bad thing about being Black in America is you don't see a lot of opportunity, especially as a Black man. It's like 2 million of us in prison. I just got an email yesterday from a young Black man that's 19 years old in jail waiting to get sentenced, facing a laundry list of charges, one of which is murder. And he 19 years old. And when I looked at his video online, like it was a news reporting online about it. He looked like he looked like the quiet, heavyset kid that sit in the back of the class and get picked on for having Walmart shoes instead of Jordans. And then now here he is in jail, probably gonna do life in prison for murder. And he emailing me. I haven't responded yet, but that hit me. And so that's why it's so many Black men that picked up a microphone and started talking about love and relationships, because it became, men started to see it as a way of escape from the streets. Because my background picture was me and Oprah, me sitting on the stage with Oprah, but I made $0 from that. And when I blew up in 2010, I was ranked the number 25 Black man on Twitter. LeBron James was number 1. Lil Duval, the funny comedian who'd have been in movies and all, he was number 26. He was behind me. Charlemagne, that's on Breakfast Club, he wasn't even on the list. So just to put that in perspective, I was 26 years old, and I was ranked number 25 in the country of the top 100 Black men on Twitter. But guess what? I was earning $9.50 an hour working in a group home, and nobody knew it. Because the year before, I had went on Oprah, and that was my background picture. And then in 2011, I did a business deal that got me, I got a new car. I moved into a gated neighborhood. And then in 2015, I did a seven-figure business deal in 2015, where I sold 35% of one of my companies. I had already sold that, but then I did like almost like a refinance type thing. And out of that money, which was all like a infusion, it was like capital. it wasn't profits or anything. It was like capital. I bought a Maserati Gran Turismo, which was $160,000 car. I put down $50,000 on it and financed 55,000. And I was the only young black man on social media that's not a rapper and not a ball player and or a scammer with a Maserati. So I was doing videos at the barbershop right after I get lined up. I would shoot a video in the front seat of my car. So you know how when people got a Rolls Royce or they got a Maserati, they be shooting videos like this. Yeah. So what I was saying was, yeah. So what I was saying, yeah. So what I was saying was, they shoot videos like that. I ain't shoot videos like that. I was shooting videos like this. So you couldn't see the logo, but my back seat, you could see the logo on the back seat, the little fork that Maserati got. Next thing I know, I saw a young brother come out and he started doing relationship advice. Next thing you know, I see him sitting in a Maserati. Maserati wasn't even in like that. It wasn't even popular. Like everybody knew Benz, S-Class, and all that, Nipsey Hussle. Young brother, Prince Darnell. And he got with the young lady, Dana Chanel, and she turned out to be a scammer. I seen him online. You know, he came on there. Relationship. This man knee high to a grasshopper, a baby. Don't know what he talking about. Giving relationship advice. Relationship. And he kind of favored me, but he got a big beard. And next thing I know, he got a Maserati. Then the next thing you know, boom, guys popping up out the woodworks, giving relationship advice. I retired. And I remember looking at two guys' videos that y'all sent me, and they did not mention God. But what started happening was people was gravitating to my message. And in the comments, women kept writing, Tony, the reason why I follow you instead of these other coaches is because you say God. But because I was the first one to do it, they all watched me. They all studied me. They all spent off my messages, all of that. And they started saying God. Not long after, probably 6 months to a year later, they started saying God. But was not living for God. Stephen Labossiere say he was abstinent for a little while, then he went back to having sex. He went back to getting in fornication, but yet saying God and quoting scripture while living in fornication. Derek Jason cheating on his wife, but talking about God. Going to church preaching, talking about God, but living in fornication. And so it started to pop up, and people just to where people started to use the name of the Lord for clout, for like a end card. Like, hey, trust me because I talk about God, so you could trust me now. And God became this cool thing that everybody wanted to start to talk about God, almost for like elitism. Like, hey, if you talk about God, that means you special. That means you elite. That means you enlightened. And so, but when you really walking with the Lord, you are gifted a discerning spirit so that you can try the spirit by the spirit, and you will know who is really of the cloth. You will know it. You will feel it. Because the spirit, it don't lie. It don't lie. Y'all got to forgive me. These questions just get some teaching done. But hold on real quick. I got to cut my air down because I got my little thing set to where my air go up to 78. Oh, it ain't even went to 78. It's in here running my mouth too much. It's getting hot. Y'all got to forgive me. I recently met a, now what time it is now? Let's see what time Wyatt get home. Get on out of here. Get on out of here soon. We're gonna wrap up in 25 minutes. I ain't be up here all night. 9 o'clock. I gotta get on home. It'd be different if I was at my home office, but I'm at my actual office. I recently met a very nice man whose wife died in February. So far, we have just had phone conversations daily for about 2 weeks. Any advice about dating a widower? No, I don't have any advice about that. That's kind of out of my scope and out of my understanding, because I couldn't even fathom talking to a woman on the phone if my wife passed away. I couldn't even, not, I mean, I talked to a woman on the phone, but not dating. And it ain't been a year. I really don't understand that. So to me, that means a man was cheating on his wife. Like I cannot, and I'm being the God's heaven honest truth. Like I remember saying this, and a lady almost got virtually slapped. She got virtually slapped with a block button because I said, if something happened to my wife and my wife like passed away, God forbid. But another thing that Christians be thinking that everything you say gonna come to pass. That ain't what the power in tongue mean. That's not what that mean. God know when you give an example. So y'all, you don't stop being so heavenly minded. You ain't no earthly good. Nah. So I said, if something happened to my wife and she passed away, God forbid, I will never date again, nor will I ever marry again. That'll be my opportunity to live like Apostle Paul and to go around the entire world spreading the gospel. And the lady put in the comments, that's a lie. I doubt you'll never date again. I don't believe that you'll never date again. Blah, blah. Get out my comments, Jezebel. Like I about had to call her a heifer, like my grandma. So me personally, I can't fathom talking to a woman in a dating capacity if something happened to my wife. Even if I went through a divorce, I wouldn't be talking to another woman within a year. And if my wife passed, then I would never be talking to another woman, because it ain't, for me, it ain't even death do us part. It ain't even, and that's when I feel like when a man truly falls in love. Like I question a man's love if he have to be with a woman when he already committed his heart to a woman until death. Because you don't gotta be with a woman, because you could be with your wife and not be with her. So you don't have to be with a woman. So that ain't something that. So me personally, I don't trust it, but and because but it's because I can't fathom it. I haven't gone through that, so I can't really relate to it. I can't relate to it. Mm, yeah, that is normal. It's normal to have a argument on the day of the wedding. It's humans. I've been told by this guy that I make his head hurt just out of the blue one day. And I'm like, how is that possible? I don't even talk to you anymore. He just laughs. Please explain, because I'm a bit confused. Says he just wasting your time. If you don't talk to him, don't talk to him, because now he trying to waste all our time. I am 33 and a 24-year-old asked me out. I agreed, but felt weird when I found out age difference. Proceeding with caution. You need to go and cut it off, sis. You're too old. You're too old for that boy. You need to go and cut it off. That's a child. That's a baby. You were changing that boy diapers. You were his babysitter. You need to go on ahead. Go on about the business. You're too old. And because you'll be proceeding with caution and find yourself on an angle lane. So just go on about your business. Tell him find somebody his age. What do you think of a man who genuinely wants to show up and do for a woman, like fixing things around the house and what other I needed help with, but then brings up his past with exes? That's what he doing that for. A man don't do anything for free. You will pay now or you will pay later. So you, if a man do something around your house, you need to put gas in his tank, pay him an hourly wage, so that's seal and deal. If he say no, I don't want it, I'm not taking it, put it in his hand. Walk out to his car, put the cash up under his windshield wiper. Make him give it back to you 8 times, and you keep getting it back to him just so he know y'all squared away. Don't take nothing from a man that you don't want to give back. That's why you see when men buy stuff for a woman and then they break up, he be like, give me everything I bought back. Give me that purses back. Give me that ring back. Hit this shirt. I bought this shirt. This my laptop. Give me that laptop back. I want everything I bought. Because that's how a man give. It's a rare man that give with no strings attached. That's a rare man. Hey, God bless y'all. Y'all forgive me. I had seen some of y'all send old, what you call it, and I was running my mouth. Y'all forgive me. I'm going to get through these at least. Proud, protective custody, 1 year divorce, being approached randomly all of a sudden, type of men to expect to attract now, especially once them knowing and or finding out I'm a minister, red flags included, type of men to expect. You're going to attract all type of men, and you just got to vet them. You got to vet them one at a time. God bless you. Kalisha is one of my clients. You got to vet them one at a time. And remember, like I always say, even a trash can want a steak. So you can't get offended by who approach you. What it come down to is who you settle down with. Amber, God bless you. Would it be too upfront to tell a man you are looking to be found by your husband, and if he's not looking for his wife, then I don't want to waste our time? Like when asking for my number before date 1. Yep, it's too upfront. It's too upfront. It just means you too on edge. You know, it's kind of like the lady when I was passing out my book at the mall. I went to hand her a book. She was with her daughter. I went to hand her a book or hand her my card, my little business card with my book on it. And I went, excuse me, ma'am, I want to give you this card. Listen, what do you want? Because I don't have time for the games. You either want to be with me or you don't. Ma'am, I'm married. And this is my card for my book. I don't know. I apologize. I'm so sorry. So what is this? So this is a book. Okay. And what is this? Okay. What daddy never told his little girl? Okay. Is this for my daughter? So, no, ma'am, it's for adults. Oh, you know what? Well, my sister owns a hair salon, and I'm gonna tell her about this book. You know how much that costs? I said $15. Okay, well, I'm gonna call her, and then I'm gonna see if she want to get some, because she probably want to get about 10 of them. I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, that woman, I was like, wow. Talk about carrying your pain. Talk about jaded, unhealed. I'm like, man, I'm trying to hand out a little promo flyer. So you don't want to come at it like that, because even a good man who looking for his wife, that will say to him, he's not going to say, oh, well, that's me. I'm looking for my wife. That's actually what a player will say to you. That's actually what somebody who said, oh, okay, you want to be like that? All right, I got something for you. Watch what I pull on you. So you don't never want to show your hand like that. You want to look at the man and see if he even look remotely close. And then you give him your bat phone. Because if you're in a dangerous area where it's been reportings of men going upside a woman's head or snatching a woman, if she turn them down or whatever, you give them your bat phone, like your Google Voice number, and then you talk to him, and then just feel his spirit out. And it might take 3 or 4 phone calls before you could feel his spirit out to see where he at. And then if you notice after call number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever call, then you say, hey, you know, I kind of picked up that we're looking for different things. And, I really don't want to waste your time, don't want to waste, anybody's time. So I think we probably should just call it here and go our separate ways. You do it over the phone, not in person, not out to eat, not where he can follow you home, not where he grab you by the hair. You do it on the phone and then you let him go. Because even a good man who looking for his wife, if you say that to him, he's gonna say, "Oh, she jaded. Oh, she jaded. Oh, she toe up front of flow up. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry for bothering you. It probably would take me a little bit of time to know if you my wife or not. But being that you want to get wifed up on the first day, I'm not the guy for you." Like he gonna give you a little smart aleck remark like that. And see, this is the thing. We don't learn this stuff in school. Thank you there, Dr. Raquel. And thank you there, Christopher. Now I was reading some chat. Some of y'all talking about, oh, he blocked. Somebody blocked. I don't even know if y'all talking about somebody in the comment. Oh, y'all forgive me. Let me get to these other. Welcome, yeah, Goldie. These other, did I miss them? I got them all. I thought I saw. Oh, here go one. Now, what Nick, my man. Oh, I'm thinking of animal. That's something now. Yeah, that's something to think about now. You naming a company, you can get somebody uneducated. I thought that was animal. Yeah, going through a death in my family, and the man I'm with isn't there for me as he should be. He folds and gets distant when I'm going through tough times. He takes my grieving as a personal attack. It's speaking to his own trauma. That's all it is. It's speaking to his own trauma. I know a lot of times we expect people to be something and to be what we want them to be, but you can't put all of your needs of fulfillment and support in humans. Because anytime you do that, you will be let down. Like there's nothing really a human could do for us that can really wrap us up and just sew us up and make us feel super comforted. Because even if they tried, we'll find a way to get offended by them caring so much, because we'll be like, it'll then turn into, I just need some time. I need some time to think. Like, you keep trying to talk to me, you keep calling me. I just want time and space. So when death is involved, people don't know how to deal with that. And then for men, like women could end up doing too much when somebody lose somebody because you're so caring and nurturing. But a man could get distant because he may say the wrong thing. Like a lot of times when somebody passes, men say the wrong thing. Like I just was I was consoling a guy. Like I was sending love to a brother who lost his very close loved one. And even his response was like, life goes on. He was like, it's been hard, but life goes on. Now, put that on the flip side. Had I said to him about his loved one being lost, hey, I know it's hard, but life goes on, that would have landed totally, totally bad. But that's how we do as men. Like, because you got to realize men are built for war. We're not built for love. Men have to learn love. Look at what's going on with what the people, Israel and Palestine. It's men pushing the button. Them pushing them buttons, that's men doing that. There is not a single woman over there in Israel and Palestine pushing a button, sending off missiles, sending off all that. That's men. That's what men do. That's what men built for. So you got to get consoling from your home girl. Like, and yes, it sounds like it's unfair to say, oh, my man can't you know, and see, this the man you're with, this not your husband. So that's even less of a responsibility he's gonna feel because he don't know what to say. And then some men are so self-centered, they don't want you down in the dumps by somebody that's no longer here. And that selfishness could also be the issue, but you wouldn't know if it's because his heart is so cold because he watched so many of his homeboys and brother and mama or daddy. Like for me, growing up, I was at a funeral every month. Like as early as the 3rd grade, I watched my best friend die right in front of me. He collapsed. He had an enlarged heart. And I was standing over him when he took his last breath. So imagine being initiated into that realm in the 3rd grade. And that's what happened with a lot of men, especially men of color. So at a point, like when my wife lost her grandmother. Now, mind you, I was 10 times closer to my grandmother than my wife was to her grandmother. And I lost my grandmother in 2007. And I cried at the funeral, and that was about it. And it was a few tears running down my face at the funeral, and I spoke for a couple of minutes. When my wife lost her grandmother a couple of years ago, that was the first loss that she's had in her entire life. And I can't even count how many funerals I've been to. And she took it so hard. I mean, she took it so hard. And it took everything in me to like just remember, like to feel death again and like to like remember what it feel like and like, okay, Tony, be mindful. Like, and in the midst, I'm still losing aunties and uncles the week before, the week after. And I'm just kind of, it's just rolling off my back like water off a duck. And my wife, she just going through. And that's when I started to realize men and women different. And this one of the things that break down so many of our relationships is we don't seek to understand the opposite sex. And we expect the opposite sex to see things and to treat things and to do things the same way we would do it. And that right there will always cost you. So as soon as you come to realize that you got you, and God got you, the less you're going to need from a human. And it's a daily battle. I got to work on it every single day. Remind myself, hey, happiness, that's a choice. Joy, that's a choice. Hey, as y'all know, only members can comment. Bless Tribe Q&A. God bless you. Hey, got something soon coming up for the Blessed Tribe. Y'all will know about it first. Now, y'all stay tuned. I done talked about it a little bit. I can't talk about it out here in public. Just for the Blessed Tribe first. Then it'll be open to the public after that. But y'all stay tuned now. Michelle, welcome. Starfish, welcome. Starfish look like my niece. I almost thought that was my niece. I'm like, look, my niece popping in here with the fake name spying on me. And my other niece text me right now. No, I don't know what y'all. Oh, okay. I see. Hey, I got all right. Sandra doing good. I don't know how many members I done had for 40 months. 12, 24, 36. That's over 3 years. Okay, Sandra over here. Sandra doing good. Antoinette, God bless you now. God bless you. Have my phone off sometime. Yeah, I'm finna find out about this. Uh-oh. Wow, 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 wow. That's crazy. I was trying to connect my guy with a Hall of Famer to go over to China. They offering the man $300,000, and that ain't enough money. I'm about to put some stilts on and call me one of these Hollywood makeup artists to go over there and get that 300. Y'all might. So if I come up, y'all don't see me for about 10 days, I'm over there in China with some stilts on and some Hollywood makeup on, getting 300 grand for this Hall of Fame athlete that say that ain't enough money. It's like, we come from slavery. You turning down $300,000, I go over there for $3,000. Like, black people, boy, you can't give us nothing. You give us a little something now. Fried chicken. I eat sushi. I'm like, well, we can't have nothing. You try to help people. And then guess what? One day, the Hall of Famers that I offered this opportunity, one day I pray to the Lord they do not go broke. Because if they go broke and they calling me in 10, 20 years, hey man, I need an investment. I need a little loan. I'm gonna say, okay, oh, you need a loan. Oh, you remember that 300,000 I had for you to go over there and do a little basketball camp for them people? Hey, God bless y'all. I got to go. My wife just texted me. Got to get on home. After 9 o'clock. It's a good thing. She missing me. Hey, God bless you. And make sure, now, if you're in the Blessed Tribe, y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay tuned now. And then outside of the Blessed Tribe, y'all hear about it later. And then other than that, make sure, the elderberry gummies, they land tomorrow. The shipping company, they called me today. They dropping them off to my warehouse here between 9 and 5 tomorrow while I'm in the office. So I'm finna be shipping out the elderberry gummies. I might get my old bottle and bust my old bottle open on the camera, sitting here and smike on them, and hopefully I don't eat too many of them like I'm eating regular gummies. But they on the way to you. So a couple of y'all had wrote in about the gummies. I say, man, I ain't no folks. Boy, black folk, boy, you can't sell black folks nothing. Like, I done bought stuff from white people company, and I've been waiting on it for 2 years because they pre-sell it. I bought a laundry folder for $400 from a white company about 8 years ago, still ain't got it. I say, and I just signed up for a vacation thing, like a little cabin in the woods, paid $50. People just email say I'm gonna get to stay in it 2026. I say, what? Well, I sell elderberry gummy for $21. The black folk people emailing me, yeah, I ordered the gummies and they not here yet. Is there a way I could be let known when they are? I'm like, my goodness. The money ain't even came out your account good yet. It's like, let the money settle. I said it's a pre-order. So they touch down tomorrow. I'm gonna get my wife in here, and we finna get in here and go to bagging. I ain't got my what you call it, custom bags yet. So they just gonna be in the normal little bag from Staples for now. So mind your manners. It's a black startup. Now, once I start it up, now once I hit 100,000, once I make 100,000, I'm gonna do a course on it. Got to do like the white man. How to start a supplement company. $997 course. Give you the game. Well, I got to charge $1,000 because I be charging $10 for courses. People don't even be finishing the course. Don't even be taking the course. I be giving $1 million worth of game in a course for $5, and people don't even finish the course. So I got to charge what it's worth going forward. So, hey, keep your head up. Stay strong. God bless you. Finna get on in here and see my wife. I have the next few hours. Get over to wealthofhealth.com. To the moderators on here, God bless you. Thank you for helping me out. And as you see right there, let me take this stick off of there. Wealthofhealth.com. I appreciate y'all's support. And stay tuned, Blessed Tribe. And then those outside of Blessed Tribe, y'all stay tuned. Y'all hear about it after the Blessed Tribe. But that way I have something for you. But you can't say too much just because of different regulations and stuff. Told me you can't say too much ahead of time. God bless you. We'll talk soon.